Calvin Castine on August 20th, a Saturday morning, 2016, and we're visiting one of the favorite places that we like to go in the North Country. It's just a hair over 30 miles from my door to the door is here, and we're on the River Road. What number River Road are we on, young man?
We're at 250 River Road.
250 River Road in Peru, and we're talking to a former Champlainer, former St. Mary's graduate. I'm a St. Mary's graduate, so those things are important to me.
Yeah.
Mr. Leeward Babbie. Leeward, I can't remember how many years ago it was, but John Ryan wrote an article for Denton Publications about what was going on here, your tractor collection.
Yeah, there was no museum around at that time.
No. So I saw that article and I said, hey, we got to get down there. So Gordy Little and I came down and talked to you out by the road, and you showed us all your tractors. Then in the summer of 2009, we were at the Quadricentennial on the River Street, not the River Road, but River Street in Champlain.
Yeah, right.
And you and your nephew came over and started telling us about this museum idea you had.
Yeah, it was all in the makings back then.
Yeah.
We actually opened June of 2010. So we've been going for a few years here. But we have increased the number of buildings and everything what we're doing here, but there's still work to be done. But we keep working at it.
Now it was a major decision. Now this property here, your house is right up here a little ways away. This was part of your farm when you were in the farming business.
Right.
But is it now owned by the nonprofit museum?
That's right. I don't own it, or anybody else owns it. I guess you would call it the state owns it. But we have a board that makes the decisions here, so I don't have to make all the decisions. I'm just an all-around guy around here, and try to keep the grounds going and clean. Yeah.
Okay, was that a tough decision though? To you got this collection. I assume most of your collection, personal collection, is also now museum property.
That's right.
That was a tough decision, I'm sure, to say here's private stuff I've collected. Now, all of a sudden, I'm going to give up the ownership.
Yeah, and my goal was to keep my collection together, and I couldn't come up with anything different than a museum. If there was something else, I don't know about it, but I wanted something that would keep my collection together, because way too often when the old man dies, a couple months later there's an auction.
Yeah. Everything
is scattered all over. So I didn't care for that, so I came up with the idea of having a museum.
Now, I know you've got two sons, is that it? You got David and Todd? You have any other kids? That's it?
Oh, I have two girls,
but girls.
They're not around. I was just talking to one. She would have liked to be director here, but she's too young and has to work yet.
Oh.
Maybe eventually she should come back in town and help with the museum. But I have two girls in Colorado, in Aspen, and the two boys are around here, which is a blessing, I'll tell you.
Yes.
There's a lot going on here, and way too much for me, so they help out.
How about the wife? Does she help at all?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot.
No.
Well, she won't see this, so that's okay.
Yeah, she watches her lawn. You know?
I know that. I've been thrown off her lawn before. I know that. When she came out there with that shotgun and cocked it, I moved.
You notice I put the ribbon up today. Keep the cars off her lawn.
Speaking of wives, I got Judy on the camera here, and she always gets upset if I don't mention her name at least 4 times in the show.
I think you should.
Yeah, I should.
I haven't seen her work, but I think she does. I think she does all right.
Well, the camera will be much improved this time from years past, Leeward.
Uh-huh.
Now, on the way down here, I cooked off, came down 22 for a ways there, and I was thinking of another former Champlainer, Clifford Renaudet, who ended up here in Peru.
Are you serious?
Well, I'm thinking of him. I know he's gone now.
I never knew he was from Champlain.
I don't know if he was there originally, but when I was a young kid, he'd married one of the Wilson girls and lived at the Wilson farm on the Ridge Road. So,
well, interesting. After knowing the guy for so long, I never knew he was.
Well, he lived in Champlain for a while. He's probably from here, then moved back to Peru.
Yeah,
I know there's other Renaudets in the area.
Yeah, he did all right. He farmed, then he started the trailer park and did real well on that. Then he built another one on the turnpike, but that one's all taken down. But South Acres, I guess, still going.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you even got a road named after him up there off 22, the Renaudet Road.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't have a Babbie Road anywhere, is there?
No, there's one in which one? Swanton.
In Swanton?
Yeah, right next to Rainy Freny's equipment.
Okay.
Place. Yeah.
Now, where was your farm? Perry's Mills, was it basically the Babbie farm when you were growing up?
No, there's a line there. I was in Champlain.
Well, Perry's Mills is in Champlain,
Yeah.
So you didn't live in the suburbs. You lived in Champlain.
Out a little. Not far up, about 1.5 miles from the village, and the milk plant used to be operating back then, and actually there was a water tank there, and the railroad went through pretty close to our place, and the Great Chazy River was across the road.
So the water tank, that's near the frog farm then?
Right,
yep.
Right. And things change. Back in Champlain, the old place, I go by once in a while, but it brings back memories, but it's not being used for farm anymore.
Yeah,
of course, it was a real small farm. That's why I ended up in Peru. I decided I'd farm and look for a bigger farm.
So you found one here, and you found a home.
Yep.
So what year did you move here? You graduated in '56, I recall.
It was 5 years later, in 1961, I moved to Peru.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know Celine Racine Paquette was in your class, and I looking through the old St. Mary's book today, and I saw Jack Favreau was in your class too.
Yeah, right.
Jack Favreau, and
we lost 2 of our classmates. Joan Fillion, she never stayed around here, but she had relatives around here. She was out in Colorado, and Jack. Out of 16, we lost 2 so far.
And I also noticed, I didn't realize, I should have known, I probably knew it before and I forgot, but one of my favorite cousins, Rosie Bayshard, Sister Rosina, was in your class.
You're related?
Yes, her mother and my mother were sisters.
Well, the reason I left Champlain, it seemed like I was related to everybody, so I got out. Yeah, every time I talk to somebody like you, they're related, and I never knew it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not related to you as far as I know, and let's keep it that way.
Yeah, okay. Never know. Yeah.
So, do you have an inventory of how many tractors? These all museum tractors? I'm sure you got people that bring stuff in. People like LaBombard,
some of mine, some of my grandsons, some of people that brought some in. We have a good gathering of tractors here today. And we're having a tractor ride later in the day. And
that sounds a little dangerous here. You're going to get some people who've never been on a tractor and...
Well, no, I'll make sure they know how to operate the tractor before I put them out in the road. Anybody here wouldn't know how to drive. Otherwise, no, they wouldn't be interested and they wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of these I'm sure we'll see at the plow day in the fall too, up up in Shazy there. I always look forward to
Oh,
that.
in the fall,
Yeah.
yeah. Tony Tremblay
Yeah.
has that every year.
Tony and Marcia.
Yeah. I keep forgetting the names of their wives, but it's a big thing. I haven't been in a couple of years because we're open here,
Yeah.
and I'm tied down too much. I can't even go to an auction anymore. They're all on weekends.
There's an auction in Champlain tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah, on the Southwick Road. Mark Eddy's auctioning off, and he bought the Harold Smith farm there. So I don't know.
Who bought the Smith farm?
Mark Eddy bought Harold Smith's farm on the Southwick Road. there
Yeah,
by the creek.
yeah, the big
He's
big
been living
farm.
there for several years. Yeah.
Oh.
So I don't know if any of that
so
stuff's
that-
left over from Harvey's days.
Yeah. You don't
what?
know what's happening with their home.
Don't know.
Don't know.
And if I did, I wouldn't be saying it on national television here. My
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah, right. But
I don't know.
It sure is a beautiful place.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
All right.
So you got tractors displayed. Now, I think on the internet it said that today you're going to do some harvesting too. You're going to.
Yeah, we're
some
going to. Well, if you notice, the field next to the house there is already cut.
Oh, okay.
We usually wait for harvest weekend, and it's too late for the oats, so we cut it before and stooked it, and it went good. If we wait and a couple more weeks, the grass comes up through, and we can't do anything with the old grain binder.
That's dusty. That's too dusty for my asthma.
Oh yeah, you stay away from that.
Yeah, and I've mentioned here before about my brother Sam and I having to stook the oats in our 13-acre field, and boy, when you're this tall and you're going out there stooking oats in a 13-acre field.
That looks awfully big.
It sure is.
I have less than an acre over there, and my son and I stooked it. And it was actually, we cut half of it, then stooked it. Then the next day we came back, cut the rest, then stooked. We broke it in half. Yeah.
And for those of you one or two people out there who don't know what stooking the oats is, when you cut the oats, it's cut into little clumps like this here with a string around them.
Yeah.
And then you just go out and you stand them up in a pile, make a little teepee out of them. For lack of a better description, make a little teepee and let them dry.
That was the purpose of doing that, because when you thresh the oats, they have to be dry. And when you first cut it, there's grass or weeds, and it doesn't work too good in the threshing machine. So they always stooked it.
Yeah, and if you left it on the ground, and every time the dew would fall, you'd be getting more and more moisture in there, and you're just ruining your crops. So.
Yeah, it kind of sheds the water when it rains, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anything about your tractors? Are you still collecting, Leeward?
No, I quit that.
Did you?
Yeah. Then I went to equipment. I quit that too. Then I went to moving buildings.
Yes, we've got one right behind us.
Yeah, and I don't know if I quit yet, but
so you got to get this one finished before you move another one.
Yeah, I would love to move a schoolhouse here. So I don't know. We're talking about probably building one, or if I could find one. I know where there's one, but
you got to get it here.
Yeah, it's 20 miles away, and I don't dare to come down the road with it.
Not for 20 miles. I remember when Coopersville moved theirs from the Lakeshore Road, from Celine Paquette's property over to the Bayshard Drive there.
Where it is now, yeah.
And that was enough work just to move it that short distance.
Yeah. This building here was a short distance. It was only a mile, but it doesn't matter how far, you still have to brace it. And we took 2 or 3 months just bracing the building before moving it.
Yeah, you got to brace it, and you got to, if you got overhead wires, you got to have somebody there to maneuver all those wires.
We did pull the roof off.
Okay.
See, my concern was to keep see how fancy the eaves are.
Yeah, well, I can, but we're going to turn that camera around so that the people watching can see it.
Yeah, actually see it, yeah.
All right, we're going to turn the camera. Okay, we moved the camera, and I don't know why, Leroy, but my wife says I moved my arm too much. I don't understand what she's talking about, do you?
Are you French?
Well, ben oui. That's all the French I know.
Explains that.
That's all the French I know, though.
Yeah.
All right, what is Goshen? Land of Goshen. Land of Goshen.
Store.
What is this?
Yeah, this is the store, the first store in the Peru area. First general store in the Peru area.
Now, how do you know that? Were you around back then?
No, the history says so.
Oh.
It was built in 1801 and was right down the road about a mile from here.
And
there was a small hamlet named Goshen. They had a sawmill on the Little Au Sable River and a grist mill, and I think they had a starch factory, and so it became like a little hamlet there. But, maybe in 1850 something, there was a bad flood and wiped everything out. So they never rebuilt, and Goshen died.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But the store stayed there all these years.
It was moved before.
Oh.
Yeah. It was right on River Road, up above. And I don't know, I'm not sure who moved it, but it was moved to the farm on the corner. And Seth Florence acquired the old Burrell orchards and got the house, and he also got this store, and they were using it for kind of a shop. And, well, I was approached because there was so much history in the building. They approached me to see if I was interested in moving it. So I gathered up maybe 10 people to decide whether it could be done or not. But it didn't help any. 5 said yes, and the other 5 said no.
Can't happen.
So still left it up to me.
You were the deciding vote then.
Yeah. So we did decide. At first we were gonna go around the fields and leave it intact and go by where there was no wires. But we decided to take the roof off and come down the road instead. And which was, after bracing it, it was an easy job. We were lucky, Luck Brothers furnished a crane to take the roof off. We brought that home. Then we had heavy 10 by 10 beams to put across. Of course, the trailer is only 8.5 feet wide, and all your weight is way out from that, so you need heavy beams. We hadn't moved the building before, so we were aware of the problems or any of that, so we knew we could do it, but it took a lot of work.
Yeah, I know the folks at Country Dream Farms moved a little building too off.
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
that was neat, and they didn't have to get a permit because they pulled it with horses. Am I right?
I think so. At least that was their story.
All right.
Yeah, George came down the road there, and Gordy was there recording that.
Yeah, I better not say it. I moved these. It wasn't too far, but I didn't pull it with horses. I'll put it that way.
I know, with horsepower.
Yeah.
So you've been working. This is about 2 or 3 years ago. You brought this over here, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's probably 4 now.
4?
We actually just.
It used to be 2 or 3.
Yeah, but it keeps
just
like my age.
Next year's going to be 5, right?
Yeah, we parked it here. Of course, we had to get it off the trailer. Somebody owned the trailer and that. And with the intentions of moving it again to I wanted it kind of towards the front.
Uh-huh.
But the lack of area up there, it was more feasible to leave it here, fix it up, and kind of have a little village down here.
Uh-huh. Well, you have this nice big lawn on the side of the museum that you,
Yeah.
you could have encroached on.
Bad enough I had to move the line 50 feet. So I had to have more space. Yeah. So, yeah, that was a good move as far as I'm concerned. You know, it's not done, but it gives us something to do.
Yeah, and do you have an idea what year it'll be ready to have articles for sale in there, or what?
No, I'm a collector. I never sell anything.
No, but I mean, to make it look like a store.
Make it, yeah. We're started.
Have you?
Yeah,
okay,
it's a little different in there since you've been here.
Okay, so we will move in there, but tell us about the windows first.
Yeah, I got one missing, but it's around somewhere. Two down below were made by David Rogers.
Okay.
He's in the business, and Jay. And I had two originals. Then I was lucky enough to find two to put at the other end of the store from Lincoln, Sunderland. Was remodeling his house, and it happened to have the same size window as the store.
Amazing, huh?
Amazing, yeah. I would never think so, because if you look at the windows, the top part is bigger than the bottom.
Okay.
And his was the same way. So we put those two at the other end of the building. So the outside, once we finish on each side and the other end, be all sealed up anyhow. Yeah.
Right, now if Goshen was done as a town in 1837, there certainly aren't any actual photos from its heyday. How did you know about the iron bars in the windows?
Because the windowsill it showed it had the holes for the bars, and again, memory's not serving me well, but I think one window was intact and showed that the bars were in it. Yeah.
Okay, that was assumed to keep people out, not to keep people in.
Yeah. Was it rough back then?
I don't know. Well, you're in Peru. I mean, there's bound to be a lot of rough people around.
No.
They're not in Champlain anymore. You know?
But they were fixed where the bars couldn't come out, and they couldn't squeeze through, so it was to protect the merchandise inside, apparently.
Yeah, to keep it. You want to hang on to it. You don't want some out-of-towner to come and...
Maybe back then was Indians. I don't know.
Hey, let's not pick on our Native Americans here. Views expressed are those of Leeward Babbie here, not Hometown Cable. I'm sure it was not the Native Americans. It was some of the French Canadians.
Yeah, that's right. I still make mistakes like that.
You're not politically correct, are you?
No.
No. That course wasn't being taught back in 1956 when you graduated.
No. Yeah. When I started school, I actually couldn't speak English. Now, a few years later.
Have you learned yet?
A few years later, I don't know any French.
Really?
Really.
Oh.
I understand some, but I have trouble speaking it.
Use it or lose it, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And over the course of the years, I wouldn't speak it, so...
Yeah, see, my mother, being a Trudeau, was in the same boat. She grew up at the stone house right across the road from the Lakeview Pavilion. That Victor Castine and Jackie Castine owned. Even though they're Castines and I'm a Castine, it had nothing to do with her being there because she's a Trudeau. So that one-room schoolhouse that used to be on the corner of Oscar Bayshard's property there, and the end of the Leggett Road 9B.
Right.
Where Sister Rosina grew up. That's where she went to school, there on Route 9B and just outside of Rouse's Point. Went to school with a guy named Mickey Gallagher. Remember him from Channel 5? Channel 3, I mean? Channel 3?
Channel 3?
Yeah.
No,
Mickey Gallagher, that's a long time. Well, that's a long time ago. You were just a kid then.
I was very young.
Yes. So my father spoke pretty good French, and my mother was fluent in it, but they never taught us kids. They only spoke French when they didn't want us to know what they were talking about. So they spoke French a lot, but not to us.
At home it was bilingual. You know,
well, your parents.
It was a mixture.
Your parents probably didn't know a lot of English then, probably, huh?
Well, they knew pretty
Enough
good
to get
English.
by.
Yeah. So, yeah, things change.
Yeah, time marches on, and
For sure.
So we're gonna take a look inside.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, we'll go take a look inside here.
Don't expect too much.
I'm expecting a lot, so let's find out for right now. Okay, we're inside, and I should correct myself. I said 1837 was. I see from you got a history of Goshen up there, and it says in 1856, a little Ausable River swept away the dam, resulting in a loss to power and operating mills. So 1856. So there is an 1856 map of the area, Clinton County. So this little Goshen store and that whole community probably appears on there.
Right, real old maps, yeah.
1856, because those old maps put a little dot where every house was and so on. So the 1869 map is like that, and the 1856 map is like that. So there's a dot there, and it might even identifies some of the homeowners, and it might even identify that Goshen store. So I'll have to look when I get home, because I've got it on the internet. And
actually, the sawmill was at the river, of course, but what they call Barney Downs Road right now used to go across the river road, across the river, and come out on Union Road.
Okay. Union's where the Quakers were, right?
Pardon?
Where the Quakers were in the Union Road, in that area?
Yeah, right. There was a Quaker settlement on the Union Road, and I guess they outgrow their little community, so there's people that moved, and they moved up to Goshen. They named it Goshen.
So these were Quakers then?
Yes, they were Quakers.
Okay. That's where the biblical name Goshen came from. Land of Goshen is an old-time phrase, and it's from the Bible.
Yeah.
You've heard of the Bible?
Yes, I have.
Okay. Just checking. Now, when we were here a year ago, I'd mentioned to you to go to a little town of Moira, next to Brushton, because they've got a general store set up there, and I still want to remind you of that. They have a nice general store set up right there at the four corners where the Crossroads restaurant used to be. It's across the road from there.
Oh,
so
really?
Just reminding you of that. There is a...
Well, I go down there. In fact, I went to the museum there. Gardy had told me about a museum.
Right, yeah.
And every time I stopped, there wasn't anybody around. But this year, there was somebody around. They were having a big doings on the weekend.
Okay, it must have been the last week of July.
Yeah. And talked to the lady there. No, they're not. The museum isn't open all the time. It's just by appointment, I guess. So. But I went in, and it was interesting because Gardy had told me about it, because if I recall, his father was the minister there at that church next to it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
See, I do have a memory.
Is that barber chair still in there? They had a barber chair
Oh,
next
yeah,
door,
yeah. Okay, yeah.
No.
But the whole place was kind of a mess because they were working on this maybe float or something. And but I was glad to go inside. They had a lot of unique stuff.
Yeah, you can see something and say, well, that's a good idea, or no, I don't want to do that.
Right.
Now I see you've got some Borden's coffee back there in little bags of gold along the back wall, or
we make it look like we're in business here.
Oh.
No, we have the scales. We have the meat cutter, which I before you tell me that blade is sharp and should be covered. I thought I had a rubber hose to go around, but I couldn't find it.
Okay.
But I just want to get it here. That's part of the display we'll have. And of course, there was no plastic bags back then.
No.
So everything was wrapped in paper. And we're going by some of these banners that we had made.
Uh-huh.
This was, I think somebody went to a museum.
Okay.
This is how.
We're going to try to move that camera here because Judy can't see that. So I'm going to keep rolling here. This is Hometown Cable on the fly here. We're going to move the camera over here. Don't adjust your sets. This is not an earthquake in Peru. Can you see that photo up there now, Jude? Okay.
No, and we're going by some of that to kind of set it up.
Yeah.
You know, this was a museum around Rochester, I guess. The pictures were taken. Then you have the other one over here that...
in the corner?
Yeah, they have barrels and brooms and different things. I tried to put a little bit of that together.
And pay no attention to the church pews. They're just being stored here.
Yeah.
He doesn't...
I got a deal on those.
He does not offer Sunday morning services here,
Yeah.
so don't come here with your kids. All right, we're going to really move this camera around again, and we're going to look in the other direction, Leeward.
All right.
All right. And we'll start right there in that corner. You got a glass countertop and everything.
Yeah.
It's like going and watching Little House on the Prairie here, huh?
Yeah, well, could be. Yeah. This is a showcase that was donated by Rolf's Orchards, and we set it up to put small items into it. As I say, we haven't done a lot of work inside yet.
Okay,
so.
Donated. by
Donated,
Rolf's Orchards.
everything.
So if people want to donate,
Yeah.
they can. If they should contact you. They might have something. They say, hey, do you have one of these?
Yeah.
And even if you do, you might say, okay, we'll take another one.
Yeah.
So you're still looking for donations, I assume.
Yeah, especially the apothecary there in the corner. There's
medicine
a picture
bottles
of
there,
it.
yeah.
We want to
Medicine
kind of
bottles.
set that up in the corner.
Okay.
So medicine bottles or any of that stuff would be appreciated.
Well, there are people all the time that collect these things, and then, as you said, the next generation comes along and says, I don't want anything to do with that, and they toss it out, so...
Well, this is a secure place to put those items.
Well, of course it is. It's got bars in the windows.
Okay, well, there's no doors. We have to work on that one. Yeah.
And Molly, the guard dog, sleeps in here, right?
The what?
Is it Molly, their guard dog?
Oh,
Museum dog?
yeah, I should get one. This is an old photo I've had for a long time.
Is that the same stove?
I'm old enough to remember. No, it isn't. But it did come from Champlain.
Oh, it's a Champlain stove.
Yeah, Mike Duquette, you know?
Oh, I know Mike Duquette. Yeah,
His father had that.
He's my cousin.
Oh, again, related with everybody. Anyhow, his father had that in the shop there.
Homer Duquette?
Yeah, right. And he donated it. It took me a year or two to get down there to get it because I didn't know where to put it before the store was renovated.
Well, that was pretty nice of him.
Yeah, it
Must
sure
have been Kathy's
was.
idea. It must have been Mike's.
It kind of fits in.
Yeah.
As I say, I had that picture and reminded me of a place that I worked as a young lad.
Where was that?
Kaufman's store.
Now there you were, bad-mouthing Perry's Mills before there, because you said I didn't live in Perry's Mills, but you were willing to go there and work, though, weren't you?
Yeah, okay, you got me on that one, but it was kind of a unique place. As a young lad, I worked in the store, and you know they had all kinds of shelves. The shoes were you had to go up a ladder to get a pair of shoes down, but this is kind of what it looked like
That's the store with that funny looking roof, right?
Yes, and
Yeah.
I hated to
Oh,
see
when they
that
went-
go
when
down
they tore that
somewhere.
down, it broke my heart.
Yep,
But-
that was too bad.
Thinking of Perry's Mills, and you talked earlier there, and I wanted to mention it. Back when you were growing up, the Perry's Mills Road was Route 11.
Well, that's right. And
All-
all the trucks went by, and and my sisters really enjoyed when the army, the troops would go by, going to Fort Drum or someplace. They sit there
The
and
little
wait.
caravans there, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So they'd write their names on a sheet of paper and then wrap a stone and throw them in the
Yeah, in the
looking
vehicle. But yeah, that was
I'm
the
gonna
main
ask Audrey,
drag.
I'm going to ask Audrey about that.
Yeah, you mentioned it. Yeah. So this is, I'm still going by a little by memory. Once,
That's dangerous for me, going by memory.
yeah.
You're braver than I am, Leeward.
Yeah, well, we'll go by the pictures, not by my memory. So,
Okay.
so that one is a big one for me.
Yeah, because
We'll,
you played the checkerboard.
See, I have the checkerboard and all.
Yeah, Judy can show the checkerboard there. Yeah, those are big checkers too. I don't think I've ever seen checkers that big.
Well, I really want an antique board. If you come across one, let me know.
Okay, I'll
You
sell
know
it to
the
you.
old wooden,
Yeah,
yeah. I haven't come across one yet, and the checkers were much smaller.
yeah, but
Yeah.
that's just what stands out. It's a museum piece. So you had the coal. It's a coal stove. I see the coal
Yeah,
scoop there. Whatever that. What's that
and
called?
I,
The
I
ashes.
tried to set it up like it was
I see
being
a-
used.
I see a price tag on that coal.
No,
thing,
it's whoever donated it.
Oh, that's got their name
no
on
no price tags here. I don't sell anything.
it. I know. I didn't know if you'd bought it and the price tag was still on it. So,
No.
like Minnie Pearl with her hat, you know.
Oh, yeah.
You have some old soda bottles, but those certainly don't go back. But you ought to.
To the time.
No, you need
No.
to get some of those blob top bottles there that had the stopper on the glass stopper on the top.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got to work on that.
yeah.
Uh,
Get on eBay.
when I have stuff and I can't find a place for it, I look around here and try to place it.
We'll put it there for now.
Yeah.
But
right.
I can guarantee you that in 1856, 7-Up was not selling soda at the Goshen store.
Oh, never know. Did you check the history on that?
I'll speculate.
Well, all right. Probably not. As we progress,
Yes.
we'll try to match the items with the store. But
you
for
got to-
now, we're just filling
Yes,
space.
that's right. And they do. It is
Yeah.
an era that I've got a few old bottles from the 50s and so on. I love those Royal Crown bottles with the desert scene and.
Oh,
those
yeah. Royal Crown was a big company back then.
Yeah.
In fact, sold those in the Kaufman store. Yeah.
All right. So here's the linens and. stuff.
Yeah, the fabric was important. Most people actually didn't buy a dress. They bought the material
Of
and
course.
went home and made a dress. But so my sister has all kinds of material, so she furnished just put a table up and put some material on it to make it look like the old days.
Yeah. Well, the old days, and my wife made a few outfits for our oldest kids when they were young. You buy
all
some
right.
material, and
Yeah, yeah.
I'd stand out of her way. So.
Well, everybody talks about the making aprons or even dresses with feed bags. The old I forget the company.
Flour sacks and
Yeah, no, they were grain.
grain bags.
I don't know if it was Rose, a company that put them out, and of course the ladies would have their husband buy the feed so they couldn't get the bag to make something.
That's recycling at its finest.
Yeah.
Of course, that was before burlap. I mean, you wouldn't want to make too many dresses out of the burlap sacks.
No, that was and the heavier bags. I remember they were ripped up and used for hand towels. Everything was used back then.
Yeah, you're right. You are old, Leeward.
Doesn't happen today.
No.
If it doesn't quite work right, they throw it out and buy a new one.
Yeah,
That's what keeps the economy going.
Sometimes it's still in good working order and they throw it out and buy a new one. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe when we finish the outside, we'll move inside, and at some point, you might see a difference in here.
Well, this is nice. It's coming along nicely, and there's a big upstairs that you're gonna putting in and up. I don't see any stairway.
We're going to end up using that for storage, yeah. And that's what we wanted in the next building, also.
Now, is there a trap door, or do you have to get in through a?
Well, there was a side door. We blocked that one off. There's a door on the end. We're thinking of putting something. No, a staircase would really take up a lot of room here.
Yeah, but a ladder.
But some sort of ladder, and there used to be a stairway there, so we can use the same hole. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but it's coming very nicely, and a nice. What are these? 12 by 12s? The ceiling supports? 10 by 10? What are
10 by 10s.
10 by 10s.
And it's the only building I've taken down. A few barns. This is the only building that the vents. This is a vent. They call a vent, and that upright goes up all the way up to the roof. So it goes up 2 stories. But I've never seen them 6 feet apart. And why they built this so
solid, huh?
Yeah, so heavy and so strong is I haven't figured that out. But most of the storage was upstairs, and most everything came in barrels. And at the end of the store, there's still a place where you can put a pulley in that to pull barrels and put them upstairs. Then whenever they ran out of a certain nail, they could go upstairs and get some more out of the barrel.
Yeah, it's too bad it's probably never going to be restored, but that old stone building across from the Saxony in Rouse's Point, and on the lake side, you got the area there with a door where the boats would come in, or they could lift stuff upstairs in there.
I don't know what's going to happen with that one.
Yeah,
I just hate to see any old building just destroyed. There's a lot of them that could put somewhere or get somebody to buy it and restore it.
Yeah.
Even with a house, these old homes, there's so much work into them and fancy, and which you don't get today.
Yeah.
You get the basics, but
Yeah.
back then,
Some of the woodwork was really
they had more time back
intricate.
then. Yeah.
I keep hearing that, but boy.
Yeah. No television
That's right.
back
They didn't have more time. They had the same amount of time, but they used it working.
Yeah.
They didn't have,
You're right.
You didn't have, even, back in 1850, you didn't have radio, so you worked, the full day.
Full, yeah.
As you know, growing
It
up on a
wasn't
farm.
an 8-hour day.
No.
Remember years ago they talked about a 32-hour week?
Well, I'm sure there are people doing it right now.
Yeah,
They
probably.
think they're overworked. But.
You talk about part-time. That's all part-time. I consider 40 hours part-time.
Yeah, yeah. Growing up on a farm, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I don't keep busy at least 60 hours, I figure I've been goofing off that week.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll keep working at this, and hopefully we have a decent looking
It's
inside
already,
here.
It's really coming along nicely.
Yeah. Well,
So if anybody's got anything that they think would add to this,
yeah, it's a
contact the
plus.
Babbie
Yeah.
Babbie Rural and Family Learning Museum.
Farm.
Rural
yeah.
and Farm Learning Museum. Babbie
yeah.
Rural and Farm Learning Museum. All right.
Yeah,
I
we
see the
didn't
sign.
we didn't want a simple name, you know.
No.
This way people forget it, what the name is.
But you don't.
No, I don't. I don't get a chance to.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I know you've been told this before, but Leeward, let's step outside.
Okay, very good.
Wait a minute.
I don't know why Leeward decided to show us this angle of the horses, but
Yeah, well, they're in their stall, and that's the way they should be. But I would love to be able to show their heads also. Their eyes are like real eyes. They're pretty horses.
so let people just touch that one there so people will know it's not real here.
Yeah, but they're good size. They're equal to a draft horse.
So where'd you get these?
We got those from Adirondack Museum and at Blue Mountain Lake. And every 20 years they change their exhibits.
Uh-huh.
And this year is at least one of the buildings, they're changing everything. And they either put it in storage, sell it, or donate it. But we lucked out. We got the donations.
How did you get on their list?
Some lady apparently saw our Facebook
Okay.
and called Dan Rock, that works on Facebook, and told him about the horses. Well, first of all, it wasn't the horses. It was a wagon, a sleigh,
The sleigh right here.
and a small plow. So I had to stay here because we were open, but Dale, Nick, was another person, and Dan Rock, went to pick up the sleighs and the wagon, and she showed them all around. They have a huge building for storage, and they went through there, and before they left, and after they loaded the items on the trailer, she mentioned about giving these horses away. And Nick knew that I was interested. I always thought about at least buying one.
Uh-huh.
They're expensive. So said, just wondered if you'd be interested in a couple horses. And of course Nick knew how I felt about that, and he said absolutely. Yeah, so we went back down. I went down that time, and a lovely lady that runs the place or the displays and that.
So they're named Nick and Dale.
Nick and Dale, they're the ones that went down
Dale,
before and
Dale
decided.
Lombard and Nick who? What's Nick's name?
Orlando.
Nick Orlando.
Yeah, he helps out a lot around here. So it's Nick and Dale. I had forgotten I put that up there. Yeah. So to me, I would never dream something like that could happen to this museum. A donation like that.
Yeah. I don't know if Judy can get a shot of that photo. Is that a photo from your family farm?
That's
team of
the two horses I was brought up with. And the harness next to it, and one of those collars, is what you see in the picture.
Okay.
I don't know what happened to the other one. I'm totally upset with myself. I never sold anything. I must have lost it or
Must have lost
something.
it.
Yeah. So I don't
Fell into
know.
disrepair and
Yeah, something happened.
you didn't
I
move
just
it.
had the one, so I'm happy to have at least one.
what were their names?
Queen and Belle. That gray horse, she was just like a riding horse. You can see she's a little smaller,
Mm-hmm.
but I would ride her, as a kid. As I say, she was just like a riding horse.
Yeah, when I was a kid, The last team my father had was Brownie and Babe, and the brown of course, and then a white. The white one was Babe. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the Percherons that comes out in the breeding. They're crossbred, and they're half Percherons most of the time. And that's what farmers would basically use back then. But they were half sisters, and different in size.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. They did a lot of work for their size. They did a lot of mowing. I remember them on the mowing machine, and yeah.
And the nice thing was when you had them on the mowing machine or pulling the hay loader or whatever, they were fertilizing the field at the same time.
Yeah. Plus, you didn't have to put up with all that noise.
Yeah. Well, you'd hear putt once in a while.
Yeah. That one really gets to me.
Okay, so these horses here you've got here, you haven't got to feed them. They don't burn. None of hay burners, and you haven't got to clean up after them.
Right. Dust them off every once in a while. They probably need it now, but it's been a busy time around here, so yeah.
Okay, well.
Again, we're glad to get these.
Yes,
Yeah.
Very nice. Okay, we're going to maybe see some oats being picked up.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Let's do that. Okay. All right, Leeward, I don't know about this crew you got here.
Yeah.
They were just standing over there until we showed up.
Yeah, I probably have to go out there and teach them how to load oats.
Yeah.
See, he's got the bundle the wrong way. The head goes first.
Yeah, you're gonna drop all the good crop on the ground.
Yeah, that's the wrong way.
Who is that? Who's that guy?
Bert Friends.
Bert Friends? Well,
yeah.
He's not gonna help on next time I have a.
Hey, Bert! Well, you're on camera, and let's do it right. You turn the bundles the other way. You put the head in. You put the head in. Put the head inside, the butt outside. There you go.
No second helping for him at lunchtime there.
We can talk about that, but we're not going to talk that.
All right, who's the other guy? You got Dale Lombard on the tractor?
Yeah, that's Leonard Ducat.
Leonard Ducat.
He loves to work around here.
Yeah, well, Donna sends him here just to get him out of the house. Get to work.
I wouldn't tell him that.
All right, that's enough. They're going to drop if we have them load anymore.
Yeah,
That'll
okay. We'll let the rest dry.
We don't want to overtax you guys. Oh, he's going to put it back now. What are you doing? Yeah, Dale's going to throw some in.
There. He does it without a fork.
Yeah. They're rebuilding. He's putting some in and they're taking it apart. They're throwing it on the ground.
How can I get anything done around here?
So it's a good thing you haven't got to worry about the bottom line, Leeward. Dale's loading them up and these other two are taking it off. That's
enough.
Oh boy.
Well.
That's a good thing you have free help. But
Yeah.
work bees. Let's talk about work bees, Leeward.
Oh, in the old days, I remember those quite well, because I ended up to be part of the bee.
Did you?
I operated the bagger, and of course pulling that 100-pound bag of oats away from the machine was all I could do. But of course the threshing machines would have baggers, and we'd switch from one bag to the other with a lever.
So
Hey, Dale.
it's enough. All right.
Anyway, back in the old days,
Laurel and Hardy had nothing on this crew.
trying to get back to the old days, they got things accomplished. It wasn't like this.
We'll put him back in the field or take it over there?
We'll leave it on the wagon till tomorrow and might pass it through. Let it dry.
Okay,
Yeah.
there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
So the work bee was all the farmers, nearby farmers, or sometimes relatives would come down and
because what I remember was, one farmer probably owned a threshing machine. Not every farmer had
couldn't
one.
afford that, no.
So he would go around, depending which oats was ready first, and he'd go around from farm to farm with the threshing machine. But there was also others that came in with wagons and horses.
Yeah, the neighbors would come in. And so you helped. You helped when they had theirs, and they helped when you had yours.
Yeah, the crew would go around from farm to farm. In other words.
That happened only when I was a little kid, but those are some of my favorite days because the food was always good.
Oh my God!
You had to feed those guys.
Oh my God! Yeah.
You gotta stop.
Oh.
All right, this is the reason why we had to stop here.
Yeah.
We had to stop because this person was pulling in. I'm sorry, this is private property, not part of the museum.
Hey.
Where are you parked today?
Not on your lawn.
Okay. I felt that high after I hollered to you.
Who is that anyway?
I don't know.
What's her first name, Leeward?
Eunice.
Eunice, there you go.
She lives in that house behind us.
All right. I don't think I've ever asked you this. Was Eunice a Peru girl or a Champlain girl?
Morris Fort.
Morris Fort. Wow.
Yeah, then Champlain.
Then Champlain.
Yeah.
Eunice who?
She was an Alfred.
Alfred. Okay.
That's from Morris Forks.
There they go down the road with iron wheels and all.
No flat tires on that wagon.
No. So anyway, those meals at the working bees were something else, weren't they?
Oh my God!
My mother would make 6 pies, I think, that day, and there wouldn't be a crumb left for supper.
Yeah, I can't. I can't believe feeding a crew like that, and they were always so hungry. And they did work hard.
Oh yeah.
I mean that.
But those farmers would work hard every day, but their appetite would pick up on work bee days. Yeah. But that's back when women were women, right?
Yeah, and men were men. Yeah, because
and sometimes boys were men, and vice versa.
Boys almost had to be men.
Yeah.
No, they started young.
Yeah. So you'd have work bees when you got your oats in, and when you got your corn in too.
Well, the same thing would happen with corn. The one guy would own a corn binder, then the insulage cutter and the wagons and the help. The help was a big thing. Getting people together, and it was nothing for them to fill a silo back then, and that was hard work.
Oh yeah.
That was pitching the bundles onto a wagon.
Every pile of corn was in a bundle like this. You drop them on the field, you go out there and with your fork and throw them on the wagon and bring them up to the silo, and they'd be chopped there at the silo.
At the insulage cutter.
Yeah.
No, then they eventually came and invented the chopper, where it would chop the corn right in the field. Then they come to the silo and unload it with self-unloading wagons, and things kept getting easier.
Yep. And as they got easier, the farmer isn't going to take a day off. He just got more things to do, bought more cows, bought more land. The farmer's not going to say it's easy now. I'll only work 55 hours this week instead of 75. He's got to keep himself working all that time. Now we talked about the thrasher. You guys own one, right? I know your son does.
Yeah, he owns
and where did you get that?
You know the history of that one. Okay, go ahead.
Another relative.
Yeah,
you got mad at me for having too many relatives.
Yeah.
But I came off Cumberland Head, and that was the Romeo Trudeau farm. That's my mother's brother, Romeo Trudeau, and you now proud owners of his thrashing machine.
Yeah.
I never know whether to say threshing or thrashing.
Well, I'm trying to correct myself. French is trashing, and if you read it, it's an E, not an A.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to say trashing, and I'm not too good
Doesn't
at it
sound
yet.
natural, does it?
No, I should say trashing, and it's acceptable around here, I guess, for most people.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right, so there you have it. The corn cutter, the oats. What was that machine that cut the oats? What's it called?
Yeah.
The binder?
Grain binder.
Grain binder would come through here, bundle all these.
Yeah. Then
4-year-old kids would come and stook them into piles like this.
Yeah, so they would dry.
Yep.
And a week or two later, they would load them onto a wagon, take them to the threshing machine. They either blew the straw inside of a barn or in a pile, but
Yep, that's where the straw would come to bed your cattle. Was the stock of this there. They take the grain off there, the oats, and
yeah,
make grain to feed your cattle.
Yeah, I can't believe that I have to buy oats now for my horses. I never did that.
You don't raise enough?
No.
Maybe you're feeding them too much.
No.
Now, these aren't the horses.
Very little.
These aren't the horses we saw in the barn.
No,
You've got two other horses here that are real.
Right. But we put them in storage for the following year. Usually the oats isn't ready for the threshing machine on this weekend, but this year we cut it. I think we cut this 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It's been stooped and
so
been through a rainstorm, and but it's fairly dry. We might try some, but we have a big carryover from last year. We have to put through the machines.
Well, no wonder your horses are hungry.
Yeah, and that's why I'm buying oats too.
Wow.
Once you put them in storage, there's animals up there.
Vermin.
The only thing they leave is the straw. But we pass it through, then we'll bale it, and we do what we have to do.
I don't know if you can see that sign from here, Judy, up by the road. Just to remind people where we're at. It's Saturday, the 20th of August, 2016, and we're at Babbie Rural and Farm Learning Museum.
There you go, you got it right.
I'm going to learn it one of these days. And it's right here at 250 River Road in Peru. It's River Road is right off the big curve by the school.
Right.
So it's easy to find. That's 22B. It comes off, right? Runs into 22B.
Right.
Yep. So.
Well, we do have a sign up there. To show them the direction as far as the museum.
Okay, when are you open?
Well, we're open, what's this, August? In July, August, and September, we're open 4 days a week, Thursday through Sunday. And May, June, and October, we're open only 3 days. But right now, till October 1st, we'll be open 4 days, Thursday through Sunday, 10 to 4.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So school groups are welcome. Just contact.
Yeah, we had quite a few this spring, but hopefully we get some. We have a couple that are scheduled for this fall. It's quiet during the summer, but
when school gets in, it gets busy.
Yeah, we get more tourists. I don't know, people aren't traveling or something. We didn't get as many tourists as we usually do here, but we have a lot to show if people want to stop by.
Yeah. Now we've only touched the surface here.
Yeah.
It's just,
there's buildings and
yeah.
never even looked at the shingle mill building that we started, and hopefully this fall we'll put a roof on it. We got a 4-way planer to put in it. That came from Mason's, the lumber yard here.
Okay. Now we've shown different aspects of this in the past, so we wanted to kind of focus on what's happening new, and it's one of the harvest days. Your final harvest day, do you have that set yet? The fall one?
Oh yeah, I have a schedule.
Is it up
as
here?
I sit now. I'll give you one.
Okay. We'll try to make it back for that fall harvest day also.
Yeah, and we get into the corn then. The corn is ready, and we chop it. We use the corn binder. We use all kinds of old equipment. The old inch cutter. Yeah.
So, do you set a date limit on the equipment you like to use when you're putting on a show? Nothing too new? Do you like try to keep it all old?
Well, I don't know of anything new around here.
No, but but there's old and then there's very old.
Yeah. Well, 40s, 50s.
So any of that new 1960s stuff, that's too.
No, we use has to be one of the first corn choppers in the field, because the cutter head is run by power takeoff, but the gathering part of the machine is run by the wheel.
When the wheels turn, it
turns.
There's no sense in gathering if the wheels aren't turning. There's nothing to gather.
So I think it was probably one of the first concepts. You know, they knew they needed power to cut it up, to chop it, but they left the rest of the machine on ground driven. I guess that's what you call it.
That works for me.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to pause right here and wrap this one up. Okay, we're coming into a small inside portion of the museum, and believe me when I say this, what we're showing here today is just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole lot to see here, but since we've covered it in shows past, we want to make every show a little bit different than the previous ones, and we come here so often, sometimes it's a challenge, but not really, because you guys are always doing stuff, always improving the neighborhood.
Yeah, we change things, especially this year. We changed the display along this area. Gee, the lights aren't on.
Oh, that's all right. We've got a lot of natural sunlight here.
Okay, you're okay?
Yeah. So you got a butter.
Well, this is something I never knew before, the separator. How did it got cream?
The cream separator, yeah.
Yeah, but this is what they used. And I don't think this would be in the home or anything, but they would make cream by filling those buckets with milk, then cooling it, then it would separate where they would drain the water. Would it be skim milk, I guess you would call it.
Yeah, and the cream rises.
And they would collect the cream from the buckets. But see, I never thought of it, but how did they do it before they invented the separator, milk separator, cream separator?
Well, I imagine they would just very slowly, if you leave the milk sit there, the cream rises to the top, and you kind of skim it off the top, I imagine. And
for the family, that's good, but,
if
what about if you sold it along with milk, you know?
There comes Audrey coming right into the picture here.
I must be in trouble.
No,
You're right in front of the camera.
My gosh.
What do you have to say?
The hot dogs, what are you selling them for?
Oh, I want to know what you're selling the hot dogs for.
Yeah.
All right. Seeing as how that's what I told the lady on the telephone.
$1 hot dogs. You should have been here.
Not worried about it. So this was brand new to me as far as how they got the cream. But then there's a little one next to the cabinet there that did the same job.
Okay, now we should point out that there's bound to be a few people that don't know what homogenized means. And homogenized means that it's all mixed together, and you buy a quart of milk now, you no longer have the cream rising to the top.
You got it.
You pasteurize it to purify it, so to speak.
Yeah.
And you homogenize it, so I don't know what that does, but all of a sudden the cream doesn't separate.
Yeah, it's a process that keeps the milk mixed.
Yeah.
You know.
Because milk is usually 3.5% cream is,
Yeah,
that's
butter
the
fat,
standard,
yeah.
the butter fat.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm sure it was the same way in your house. When we were kids, we'd bring in that quart of milk. My parents would skim off the cream for their coffee.
Yeah.
And we were drinking 2% milk back then, and we didn't even know it.
We didn't know it. Yeah, you're right.
Or even 1%.
Yeah. I still if I buy a carton of milk or something, I still shake it.
Yeah,
You know,
when we were in high school.
When we were brought up,
you'd get the carton of
you'd
milk.
shake it.
Sunny Hill Dairy or Rosebud Creamery or whatever
Yeah.
would deliver the milk to the school. Being on farms, we didn't have it delivered to our house, but you'd get that little container, and before the days of homogenization, you'd shake it up.
Yep.
Because the cream would be at the top.
Yeah.
So this is so you got different jugs, and you got an old.
These a lady on Willsboro Point, on one of the farms, they sold butter.
Okay.
And they actually use a lot of this equipment that they donated to the museum. And
And you got a butter churn there, right?
yeah,
know if
that's
you
the
can see that.
biggest one I ever
Maybe behind
seen.
that pole, you may have to.
Yeah.
Can you see it, Judy? That reddish brown.
Oh well,
Remember the stick?
that's a small one. They were
Yeah.
more popular, but the one behind it.
Oh,
is
with the crank on it?
Yeah, that's a butter churn.
That's also a butter churn.
Yeah, then the barrel, then the other one there that, and they were all cranked by hand. And that's where big families came in handy.
Take your turn.
Yeah,
That was woman's work.
yeah, and in the other room we have a treadmill for dogs.
Okay.
That was for families with no kids.
And they had them for goats, of course,
Yeah,
horses, and so
yeah,
on.
you can,
Yeah, Frontier Town used to have a nice little display there with their, Frontier Town. They have their old village there. They have a horse on the treadmill. And,
Oh, really?
yeah. So you were too busy on the farm to.
Yeah,
to go
I
to
don't
go to
know.
Frontier Town. See,
I don't think I ever went. I went after it was closed.
Oh,
A
just to
little
buy
too
stuff.
late, but that's a
Just to
horse.
buy the stagecoach.
Yeah, yeah. No, I got that one in Plattsburgh, but at an auction. But that's all right. But it came out of
Frontier.
Frontier Town.
Yeah. So you got sleds and you got all kinds of stuff here. Saws over there in the corner.
Yeah.
So it's all on display. And back up a bit here, because I just back up a bit leeward here, because
Whoop.
I'm going to trip and fall
Yeah.
backwards here. But you are fully liable for.
Well,
Anything
well,
happens
be
to-
careful, eh? We can't afford to get sued.
Someday I'll own this museum.
Yeah.
And what is this pretty red wagon here?
Oh, that was the other gift that we got from Adirondack Museum.
If you need to move the camera, Judy, feel free to do so. Folks won't mind. So Adirondack Museum donated that to,
Correct.
to the Babbie Learning and Rural and Farm Learning Museum.
There,
Okay.
you got it. You got it. Yeah, and they saw us on Facebook and gave the guy a call, and we were more than happy to say yes as
yeah.
far as a donation here.
He said, yes, please, probably.
Yeah, and that's great, and no, our display is horse-drawn transportation and farming equipment this year.
Okay, and that's
So
definitely transportation, but you got a
Yeah,
horse-drawn
then you have
mower here.
horse-drawn mower, a seeder, and
And here's one of those. This is a corn chop. This is corn chopper here. That would be at the silo.
no,
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 that was the blower. Just the blower.
no.
No.
That's an old thrashing machine
Oh, it's a thrashing
in the
machine.
1850s.
Well, how about that? I see
Yeah,
You, see you
but-
had straw in there, but I didn't know if that was just
Yeah, see the cylinder?
Uh-huh.
Well, and one like this was operated by a one-horse treadmill.
Okay, so you got the treadmill in the back.
Yeah, and some were bigger than that. Then they have a double treadmill for a team.
So where'd you get this old threshing machine?
Oh, out of Westport area. Yeah.
Now, obviously, I don't remember ever seeing that being utilized in real life. Have you? You don't remember it either, right?
No, the ones we had were
modern day.
Probably more like the one that's outside.
Romeo
there.
Trudeau.
Was all wood, and Trudeau, they were more modern.
Yeah,
They had
metal.
the metal,
Yeah.
the bigger threshing machines. Yeah. But this, that was the beginning. You know, before that, they had to use a flail and beat the grain off the.
Okay, I didn't know where you were going there when you started saying beat the.
Yeah, I'm French. So anyway, now they invented the cylinder that would take the grain off the bundle, then straw would work its way back and dump at the end. Nothing real fancy, but it did beat the flail.
Okay, your wagon that you got from the Adirondack Blue Mountain Museum, is that authentic, or is it something they built, or is that authentic?
I know it's been painted. Whether.
Well, stumped there. See, he made me look bad, so I can read it if the cord's long enough.
Yeah.
And okay, it just says with removable seats from about 1905. In summer, when regular stagecoach connections to the North Creek train with the museum, hotels, I tell you, actually used that, I guess, back in 1905, that era.
Yeah.
And the original donor was Mr. William Waddell. And in 2016, it was donated here to the Babbie Museum with all those other words in it.
They use it between hotels and
Yeah.
railroads and all that. Yeah.
Yep, back in so this was a horse carriage, not a horseless carriage.
Yeah. If I had enough room for display, I would put the two horses hitched onto it. That's what
There you
they
go.
did at the museum.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Well, just,
So we got the pole and everything for a two-horse hitch.
well, if you wouldn't keep getting so much stuff, you'd have more room, Leroy.
I know, but geez, it's a problem. I don't refuse anything, and the stuff kind of piles up here. And,
Accumulates.
well, we're still trying our best to display as much as we can.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a little crowded, but it's just to show people some of the items that were used way back when.
And if you come on one of their demonstration days, you can see a lot of the equipment out there being used, and that's happening today.
Yeah, they picked up some oats there, and they should be running the threshing machines, but I really don't hear them yet.
I thought you wanted to save it for later.
Well, we have enough for now and later.
Oh, you got stuff that
Yeah, I got carryover from last
All right,
year we
use
can
some of
put through.
the old
Yeah.
oats.
So, yeah, just a lot going on today, or supposed to be going on. I haven't been back there recently.
We're pulling this man, the man in charge here. We've tied him up for the past 2 hours, and
we're actually having a tractor ride into Peru, the village of Peru, and we're trying to get enough drivers, and looks like we have enough tractors. We might be short of drivers. Yeah, there must be 20.
Enough gas in the tanks too, so they can get back.
Yeah, well, sometimes I forget to check that.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up, Leeward, because you got work to do here, and it's almost 12:30, and you're going to catch heck. You've already caught heck from your sister. Off camera.
Yeah, well, I'm used to that, you know.
Audrey Falcon, one of the volunteers here, 1952 graduate.
Yeah.
Yeah, of St. Mary's.
Yeah.
We won't mention that on TV though, but
no,
she's 4 years
don't
4
do
years
that.
ahead of you.
She'll get upset.
Yeah, so we won't do that. So we're going to wrap it up here. This has been another hometown story. We've been in beautiful downtown Peru at a place that I love to come to. And if you're looking for something to do with the kids in the summer months, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, this is the place to bring them.
Very good. We'd like to get as many folks here as possible. There isn't anybody that leaves this place that isn't somewhat impressed. They think it's only this building
Right,
here
when they go in the
when they're
back.
going by, but there's 13 buildings here. Yeah, they're a little close, but we fit them all in.
And if you got a building you want to donate and you can bring it here, he'll take it.
Yeah.
But he's through he's through moving them for a while.
Yeah, I'm slowing down on all the activities here.
All right.
But we're still looking for a schoolhouse and one that we can move on to whether it's piece by piece or the whole thing in one shot. But yeah, that'll be our next one.
All right. So if you got a schoolhouse you'd like to see preserved, Leeward would like to be involved in that.
Yeah.
So thanks for Judy for running that camera on this warm day, and thanks for Leeward for spending time with us.
Yeah, we'll check on Judy when I see the
camera work?
the camera work. I'm sure she's capable though.
I hope she lived up to your standards, Leeward. Thank you.
Yeah.